What's up, guys? Welcome to Whiskey. My name is Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below. And with that out of the way, let's jump into our review. Today we're looking at the Glen Scotia Victoriana. Stick around. Alright, so we're doing a re-review today, which is something I seem to be doing a lot of recently. Last week I looked at the Kilkerran 12, which is a whiskey I last looked at like 2 years prior. This is one that I haven't seen or looked at in about a year and a half, and I figured now is as good of a time as any to come back around to it. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jeff, you just want to revisit this because this bottle won Best Single Malt Whiskey at the OSWAs, or the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, last week. And no, actually, I've been planning this review for a really long... Yeah, fine, it's because of the OSWAs. It's 100% because of the OSWAs. As I said, this one won Best Single Malt Scotch at the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, which is probably the biggest category they have. You can choose literally anything as long as it's a single malt, as long as it's a Scotch. It's an open category, and people voted for this as the best one. So it is a very popular whiskey, and I'm gonna ride that wave, baby. Is that me being self-serving? Well, it could be if I have nothing but good things to say about this whiskey, which I might, but I also might not. Ominous. Where are you going with this, Jeff? Nah, I mean, I'll probably like it. My last bottle that I reviewed, I scored a 90, which, of course, is a high score. I am famously a very generous scorer, and that's particularly true in my older videos, but obviously it's a bottle that I liked a lot, so we've got good chances here. However, that was an earlier version of the Victoriana. That one came in at 51.5% ABV, so it would make it an earlier batch. And of course, people love their batch talk. Apparently, those earlier bottlings are very well regarded. I don't know if they're any better. I'd be lying if I said I followed up on every single batch of Victoriana, or any other whiskey for that matter. Following batches can get really exhausting. Anyway, speaking personally, I've had my ups and downs with this whiskey over the years. The first bottle I ever bought, I actually didn't really like. And then the second bottle I bought was the one I reviewed last year, and I absolutely loved that one. This is my third bottle, so who knows? Let's find out. Let's jump into our review. And in the meantime, if you could kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. For our specs, this one comes in at 54.2% ABV. It is non-chill filtered, and it is naturally colored. So these guys are definitely doing it right. Someone should give them an award for that. Sorry, there's a lot of glare from the lights, but this is a good looking bottle. I think it looks great. I like our little stamp here. I like our gold accents. It's minimalist with a Victorian flair because why not? This is the older look. The newer look looks like that, and I like that too, but this one's solid as well. We'll give it 4 out of 5 for presentation. We've got non-chill filtered, cask strength, and natural color on the back. We do have a little blurb with some tasting notes. Our box does mention the deep charred casks used to mature this. So there's nothing too obnoxious. There isn't any fluff. It's got all the info we need, and the look is nice. So everything's looking good. So I didn't add water for our nose. This is a rich nose. We do get the charred casks. We do get a sweet woodiness in here. There's also like wood polish or wood varnish. There's a mustiness. There's a tartness. We get caramel, green apple, toffee, and some gentle vanilla. It's different. On the palate, we have a beautiful, oily, full mouthfeel. It's slightly creamy even. We get oak spice, white pepper, green apple, caramelized fruits. We get burnt wood, and once again, that wood varnish note. Now, I don't know if you've ever had wood varnish before, but it's delicious. Kids, don't drink wood varnish. It's very unhealthy. For our finish, we're still on white pepper. We have green apple, charred oak, lemon. It is spicy, it is musty, it is dry, it is bitter, it is salty, it is adjective-y, medium to long finish. So I get what the hype is about. This is good stuff, and it's different from any other whiskey out there. And it's even different from other Glen Scotias. Now, I'm a fan of Glen Scotia, but sometimes their stuff is a little bit too engineered or sanitized for my taste. Not always, but sometimes. Now, I know a lot of you out there really like the 15. I like it fine, but I do think it's a little bit safe. Meanwhile, this one is extremely characterful. There's just so many things about this whiskey that set it apart. We have the mustiness, we have the tartness, we have the bitterness, we have the oak spice, and of course the wood varnish. I also like the texture here. It's very oily and full and rich. I think we have a great finish. The whiskey itself is not too sweet, and we do run the risk of that when we have these heavily charred casks. They can impart a lot of caramels, a lot of vanillas, a lot of sweetness, but luckily we have the tartness, we have the bitterness there to temper it. So there is a lot to like in here. I think it's definitely one that you guys should check out. I do think it's one of the better Glen Scotias. Now, I used to really like some of their special releases. I really liked the 14-year-old port cask when I first popped it. I really liked the 10-year-old Bordeaux when I first popped it. But as those bottles went down, I started liking them less and less. And that's definitely not the case here. Now, the more recent 8-year-old PX finish is a different story. That's a really good whiskey. I will be reviewing it soon, but compared to some of those older special releases, I do like this one more. And unlike those ones, this one just keeps getting better as the bottle goes down. Anyway, special releases aside, let's compare this to the rest of the core range. I really like this. As I said, it is one of the better Glen Scotias. I'm not sure I like it as much as the 18, but it's a tough one. I think they're really, really close. I might like the 18 just a tiny bit more, but that would be a different story if we were comparing the 18 to the last bottle that I had, that earlier batch at 51.5%. So yeah, I really like the 18, and I did prefer my last bottle, but it's still up there. It definitely doesn't diminish the fact that I still thoroughly enjoy this bottle. I think it's a great whiskey, and again, it's very unique. So if you haven't had this before and you want to try something that's obviously delicious but also unlike any other whiskey out there, definitely give this one a go. I think that uniqueness that I keep mentioning, I think the fullness of flavor here, I think the natural presentation that we have, I think the balance in this, I think all of these things come together to create like this perfect storm of elements, and it just makes a whiskey that people can really latch onto. That explains why it's winning Oswas. That explains why it's so popular. That's why people love it. I love this stuff, and I'm going to give it a good score. This one gets an 88 from me. Oh yeah, we're riding that wave, baby. So yeah, this is definitely one to check out if you haven't, and I would imagine the brand is feeling pretty good about themselves right now after their recent Oswa win, and rightly so, they deserve it, but let's hope the prices on this bottle remain stable. I hope that the brand and the distributors respect their customers enough to not start overcharging for this stuff. It's an excellent whiskey, and it should remain affordable. Now let's talk about value. Of course, affordable is a relative term. This is not a cheap whiskey, and it's also a no age stated whiskey, which some people might take issue with, but it's naturally presented, it's cask strength, and it's delicious. So I think it's worth the money. I think it's a very special whiskey, and I do think the price is justified. This is a bottle that I'll be coming back to down the line. All right, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. Otherwise, you can like, comment, and subscribe. That is always appreciated. And of course, I do want to hear from you. What do you think of Glen Scotia Victoriana? Do you think it deserved the Oswa? Are you a fan of this stuff? Let me know down below. And finally, in the comments, you can also let me know what you want to see me review next, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.